Hello everyone, welcome back to Into Sports. I'm your host Evan. Before we start, please click that subscribe button. It would help me out a lot because the Brooklyn Nets just traded for star guard James Harden. They essentially gave up a Brinks truck worth of picks and players to get him, most notably Karis LeVert and Jarrett Allen, both guys that were starters for this Nets roster. And the pick swaps, you'll see that on the screen. That means that if the Nets have a better first-round pick than the Rockets that year, then the Rockets say, let's just swap picks. Let's get the better first-round pick. So that's what a pick swap is. Very simple. Very self-explanatory. But the question is, how does James Harden fit on the Nets? I'm skeptical about this because Harden, Durant, and Irving are all what I consider ISO guys. And having three ISO guys doesn't really help because the advantage of having multiple great players on one team is that the defense doesn't know who's going to shoot the ball. All three guys are threats at all times, theoretically. But if the defense sees James Harden dribble at the top of the key between his legs 14 times, then Kyrie and Durant aren't as much of a threat. They're just standing in the corner while Harden's doing some fancy moves at the top of the key. Now, if you were getting an elite off-ball player, like a Steph Curry, for example, instead of an isolatory player like James Harden, that would be a different story. Because in Golden State, you had Thompson and Curry running around at all times, getting shooter screens, and you had a great passer like Draymond Green. Okay, so now the guys without the ball are very dangerous. That's why Golden State was a dynasty. But I don't see that same dynamic happening in Brooklyn because we have ISO players, guys that aren't as active off ball. The Warriors made each other better. I don't think the Nets and this big three are really going to elevate each other like the Warriors did, for example. Now it's going to be a lot harder to double the guy with the ball when you have Irving and Durant, for example, on the wing. It's going to be difficult to double, but that ball movement, that off-ball, Steph Curry-like play, it's not going to be there. Another problem for the Nets is that currently their starting center is 6'8" Jeff Green. Have fun dealing with Joel Embiid. Have fun dealing with Anthony Davis, Giannis. Now you still have DeAndre Jordan, but let's be honest, he's not really that good anymore. Jarrett Allen, the guy who they traded away, their starting center, that's going to be a very critical loss, specifically defensively, when you have to deal with some of the trees, like Giannis, for example. And let's just forget center for a second. Can you find me a soul on this roster that's going to play even a lick of defense? Kyrie, Harden, Jeff Green, Durant, off of injury, DeAndre Jordan, Nicholas Claxton, Reggie Perry, Timothy Luwalu-Cabarrot, Joe Harris. Can you find me this defensive stopper here? Can you find me this LeBron guarder, this Anthony Davis guarder? I'm not seeing it. This Nets defense is going to look like a wet paper bag. Well, but you can still win the title without having great defense, right? Let's look at the last 10 NBA champions. Let's look at where they rank defensively, points allowed regular season. 3rd, 6th, 16th, 12th, 4th, 13th, 6th, 4th, 4th, 10th. Notice how none of those ranks are in the 20s? Well, that's where the Nets are going to be. So stop telling me defense doesn't matter. The Nets are going to be torn to bits. And I know they're going to score it with ease, but so will their opponents. So I don't think this is a remotely good basketball fit, both offensively and defensively. And I haven't even got to the way they fit in the locker room. Kyrie, first of all, isn't even with the team right now. He's somewhere else doing who knows what. Now we expect him back relatively soon, but we are talking about flat earth Kyrie Irving. So who really knows? This big three is like an all-star team of controversial teammates. Kyrie Irving leaves the team without any notice, doesn't even tell Steve Nash. Harden leaves his team to party during a pandemic. And he cycles star teammates because they get sick of each other. Chris Paul to Westbrook to John Wall. Kevin Durant had fights with Draymond Green. And he made that infamous burner account so he can credit himself and take away from his teammates. So if you thought these guys were going to be difficult on their own, let's see what kind of drama this three can stir up this season. I think it's going to be a lot. Now I'm doubling down on the Lakers winning the title. They seem to have great chemistry, contrary to the Nets. They have a deep roster, contrary to the Nets. They're great defensively, contrary to the Nets. And the Nets cannot match Anthony Davis. Jeff Green, DeAndre Jordan, they don't stand a chance. Now, this is risky business by me, because if the Nets maximize their talent, they play team basketball, they commit on the defensive end, then they're going to win the championship. They have the highest ceiling in basketball right now. But there's too many reasons why they won't reach that ceiling. Defense, lack of cohesion and basketball fit, drama, lack of depth, no effective big man. So if I'm the Lakers, I'm not scared. I'm still picking LeBron to win ring number 5 this season. The Nets, yeah, they're obviously contenders. I expect them to be in the finals, but I wouldn't be shocked if, per se, they just never clicked and lost in the Eastern Conference Finals.